A woman with a delicate and beautiful appearance turned into a skeleton right away. Her two children were so frightened that they knelt on the ground and cried uncontrollably. It was originally thought that the 70-year-old mother had learned the magic of eternal youth and immortality, but now it seemed that when it was time to die, one still had to die. Strangely, when the daughter was going to keep vigil for her mother, late at night, then countless women wearing strange masks surrounded her, repeating a sentence over and over again. And what is the connection between all this and the mother's eternal youth and beauty? In 1987, the woman Ella came to a deep cave with her crying son, and it took a long time to reach the end of the cave. Then Ella put her newborn son in a flower basket. She took a reluctant look at her son, then picked up a awl and a hammer. A few minutes later, Ella put her blood-stained hands into the water. The surrounding candles were blown out by a gust of cold wind. Ella, who sensed something was wrong, slowly turned her head. When Ella surfaced again, she found that she was surrounded by women wearing strange masks. The crowd motioned her to look ahead. A woman with a powerful aura made a dazzling entrance. Before Ella could say anything, a pure gold nail was stabbed into her brow. In 2024, a pair of siblings, who had just finished school, were chasing and playing. The sister is named Anna, and the brother is named Jack. The two ran all the way to their mother's grocery store. Mother Mary is a single mother who supports her two children by running a grocery store. On this day, Uncle Charlie came over, and the two children rushed out excitedly, but Mary knew that her brother must have something to ask her, so she sent the two children away. Then she took out a stack of cash and persuaded her brother to find a job to make money. Charlie didn't want to listen to her nagging and said that he actually had something else to do this time, which was about their mother. But Mary became very emotional when she heard this, and shouted why they should care about that woman. She was cruel at the beginning. Obviously, the two of them hadn't even graduated from primary school at that time, but they were driven out of the house suddenly by their biological mother. She was simply unworthy of being a mother. Charlie hurriedly explained that the nanny Linda called a few days ago, saying that their mother Ella's condition wasn't optimistic, and she probably wouldn't live long. She hoped that the siblings could go back to see her one last time. If they didn't take this opportunity to find out the reason why their mother abandoned her children, it was estimated that this matter would completely become an unsolved mystery. But Mary was still angry and didn't want to go back, so Charlie had to ask his sister if she wanted to set a bad example for Anna and the others. Soon Mary took the children to board the bus to their mother's house. They were completely unaware that this decision would bring them great trouble. The bus traveled for a day and a night. After arriving at Ella's house, Jack lamented that his grandmother's family must be very rich, otherwise they couldn't afford to live in a luxury villa. While talking, Linda came out to greet them, and asked them to come in quickly. As soon as they went into the reception hall, the two children were attracted by their grandmother's portrait. They lamented that their grandmother was really beautiful when she was young, but now she must be too old to look good. Unexpectedly, although she was clearly a 70-year-old woman, her appearance was exactly the same as when she drove away Mary and her brother. Linda was used to it and said that Ella would twitch wildly from time to time, and only a piece of classical music could calm her down. Just then, Charlie leaned forward and shouted his mother's name. He saw a tear sliding from the corner of her eye, but her body still couldn't move at all. Charlie raised his mother's hand and asked Jack and the others to go forward to say hello to their grandmother. At first, everything was normal, but when it was Anna's turn to go forward to say hello, Linda explained that Ella must have been too excited to see her grandson for the first time, which caused her to lose her composure. But is that really the case? After coming out of their mother's room, Charlie asked the two children to go see their rooms first, then told his sister that something was wrong with their mother. After all, how can an ordinary person remain young forever? The other party didn't say anything and went back to the room where they lived when they were children. While Charlie entered his mother's dressing room and rummaged through boxes and cabinets, he finally found the property certificate of this luxury house in the interlayer of the quilt. It turned out that the reason why Charlie was in a hurry to come back was that he had long been heavily in debt due to his extravagant lifestyle before. What he was thinking about coming back this time was his mother's inheritance. Then he found a stack of cash and accidentally found a dark mask with an evil totem on it. But Charlie didn't care too much. That night, after much hesitation, Mary asked Linda about her mother's condition. The other party looked hopeless and sighed. saying that at first she helped Ella seek medical treatment, and wanted to know what was wrong, but she consulted many famous doctors, and did a full set of examinations, but still couldn't find any cause of the disease. Later, Linda suspected that Ella was possessed by a ghost, so she invited a famous local shaman. She was just about to continue when she was stopped by Mary, who didn't believe in ghosts and gods. Mary said that many shamans talk nonsense just to cheat money, although she showed an indifferent attitude during the day. But late at night, Mary sat alone by her mother's bed, holding her mother's skinny hand, and tears couldn't help falling, and Ella's eyes turned red right away. The next day, Jack, who was playing with toys, suddenly shouted. Linda hurried forward and asked what was wrong. Jack shouted that his beloved toy car was missing, and then begged everyone to help him find it. Anna helped search, but heard a strange sound. She curiously followed the sound, carefully moved to the door of her grandmother's room, and tentatively pushed the door open gently. As the door opened slowly, the strange sound became more and more clear. When she opened her eyes wide and looked into the room, she found that Jack's missing toy car was driving automatically under her grandmother's bed, but this toy wasn't electric at all. But Anna was still just a child after all, so she got under the bed to pick up the toy without thinking much. But the moment she touched the toy car, a sharp and harsh sound suddenly came from around. Anna, who couldn't move, was so frightened that she desperately cried for help. Everyone who heard the commotion rushed in right away. Charlie carried his mother back to the bed, and used all his strength to hold down his mother, who was convulsing wildly. At this time, Linda also ran over and hurriedly played that classical music. Gradually, Ella became calm. It was thought that this storm had finally subsided. Charlie's tense nerves also relaxed slightly, but unexpectedly, Ella suddenly sat up. Charlie, who was soaking wet, was very collapsed, and shouted to call the shaman right away to exorcise evil spirits. After the shaman arrived, he began to perform magic right away. He first took out a pile of strangely shaped fruits and vegetables, murmuring mysterious mantras. He seemed to really have some ability. The mother, who was originally lying quietly in bed, suddenly twisted her body painfully. She also let out a creepy roar. It made people's backs tingle with fear. At this time, the shaman took out a dagger and cut open an eggplant. The eggplant flowed out bright red liquid right away. The shaman was unhurried, and mixed this liquid with red sandalwood sap. Then he dipped in the mixed liquid and sprinkled it towards Ella, who was shaking all over. With each sprinkle, a pungent white smoke emerged from Ella's body. The smell made people feel nauseous, and there were shrill screams. Then the shaman put his hands together and quickly chanted mantras. He also slowly extended his hand towards Ella's head. At this time, a strange thing happened. The shaman was choked until his eyes were scarlet, and he shouted for Charlie to stab the eggplant. Strangely, every time the dagger stabbed into the eggplant, the shaman could take out a nail from between Ella's eyebrows. In the end, he actually took out 7 or 8 nails. It was thought that the exorcism ceremony was completely over, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But Mary suddenly screamed in fear, because Ella's skin actually sagged and shriveled rapidly. In just a few seconds, it turned into a wrinkled corpse. The shaman explained seriously that it was all the cursed nails that were causing trouble. They prevented Ella from dying normally and even polluted her corpse. To avoid trouble, it's necessary to find a cave with an underground river on the 7th day after death, to water bury the corpse and nails together. Only in this way can Ella's descendants be kept peaceful and return to normal life. Then he explained the matters for keeping vigil these days. Although everyone was full of doubts after hearing this, they had no other choice but to follow the shaman's instructions. But when bathing and changing Ella's clothes the next day, an accident occurred again without warning. They thought it was because the mother couldn't swallow her last breath, but Mary looked carefully with wide eyes, and didn't see anything wrong at all. That night, Mary was alone in the morning hall, concentrating on reciting the scriptures for deliverance, but she felt a chill on her back, and saw someone behind her out of the corner of her eye. Her heart tightened, and she suddenly turned around. It turned out that Linda had come to help keep vigil. Mary suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, but when she inadvertently looked up, she was so frightened that she almost fainted. Another Linda was slowly walking towards her. Mary hurriedly looked back, but there was nothing behind her. When she turned her head back, Linda in front had actually disappeared. Could it be that the mother's soul was playing tricks? Mary summoned up her courage and reached out to the corpse. The scream woke up Linda. She stepped forward and asked if she was too tired, then asked Mary to go back and rest. On the other side, Jack had already fallen asleep, but Anna wanted to wait for her mother to sleep together. Suddenly, the sound of pacing back and forth came from outside, and it was thought that the mother was too worried to sleep. She called her brother's name, trying to wake him up, but Jack was sleeping soundly, so Anna had to go and open the door to check by herself, but the outside was empty, with nothing there. Full of confusion, she closed the door and lay back on the bed. While wondering what had just happened, the rocking chair by the bed suddenly started to sway. The terrifying sound was particularly harsh. In the dead silence of the night, Anna was so frightened that she shouted for help. Upon hearing the cry for help, Mary ran towards the room right away. When she rushed in, the room had returned to peace again. The next day, Jack ran to the yard and started a live broadcast, showing off that his grandmother's villa had a big swimming pool. Before he could say a few words, he heard his sister asking for the phone, so he quickly turned off the live broadcast and ran away, came to his grandmother's dressing room, looked around, and hid in the wardrobe. At first, Jack was still snickering, glad that his sister couldn't find him.
Honey!
Jack shouted for help. When Anna hurried over and pulled open the wardrobe door to look, there was nothing wrong inside at all, and when she looked back, the other party was busy starting a live broadcast, so she thought her brother must have been playing a prank on purpose, and then angrily turned around and left. But as soon as she turned away, Jack saw the strange mask on the ground. Late at night, Charlie was upset by the debt collection text messages and was frowning, trying to figure out a way. Suddenly, the sound of chanting came from the morning hall, but it was clearly his turn to keep vigil in the first half of the night. So who was chanting in front of the corpse? Charlie felt scared and quickly went to check the situation, but he saw that his mother's body was surrounded by many women wearing black robes. Charlie hurriedly turned on the light, and those women suddenly disappeared. This incident scared Charlie badly, and he felt that he couldn't stay any longer. The next day, he told his sister the truth, saying that he had to sell the things left by his mother as soon as possible to pay off the debt, but since their mother had just passed away not long ago, his sister flatly disagreed. In the end, the brother and sister parted unhappily. At the same time, after Jack picked up that mask, he curiously put it on his face, and actually sought his young and beautiful grandmother. He quickly told his sister about this, but as soon as Anna heard it, she got angry. Thinking that he was trying to play a prank for the live broadcast again, she scolded him, saying that he couldn't joke about the things of deceased elders. Jack had to reluctantly put the mask back in the dressing room, but how could the mask let them go easily? At night, Jack was busy dreaming of becoming a big online celebrity, but was woken up by bursts of noise. He covered himself with the quilt, and asked his sister impatiently what she was doing without sleeping. Anna on the rocking chair stopped right away, moved stiffly to Jack's bedside and slowly sat on the bed. Jack was so frightened that he cried and ran out to find Mary, who had just put on her prayer clothes. After hearing what her son said, Mary hurried to the room to check the situation, but she still didn't see anything. Anna still looked like she had just been woken up from sleep, and asked them what had happened. Now everyone had encountered strange things. The children begged their mother to leave here quickly. The next day, Mary planned to go to the county town with Linda to buy train tickets, so she left the two children in the care of her younger brother Charlie. But Charlie was far from reliable. As soon as Mary left, he told the children to go to sleep, then sneaked off to the red light district to play, leaving the two children alone at home. When Anna and her brother woke up and didn't see any adults, they were so scared that they wanted to call Mary, but they tried for a long time but couldn't get through. They also didn't notice that their grandmother's body in the morning hall was slowly sitting up. When they went to the toilet, something even more terrifying happened. The two children were so frightened that they ran out in a panic, just in time to meet Mary and Linda, who were returning. Hearing that their mother had come back to life, Mary and the others went to check the situation, but when they approached, they saw that Ella's body wasn't unusual in any way. Early the next morning, Charlie, who had been having a good time all night, woke up in a mass grave. With a groggy head, he felt that he must have met with something unclean last night, and could only hurry home. When Mary found out, she scolded her younger brother severely, and he could only listen obediently, since he knew he was in the wrong. As for why they didn't leave after buying the tickets, it was because the train they were going to take, only departed once every 3 days. Late at night, Mary suddenly woke up from a dream and reached out to touch, only to be shocked to find that her daughter was gone. In a panic, she didn't even bother to put on her shoes, and hurried out to look for her.
Sopo kalian.
When a group of mask-wearers saw Mary come in, they turned their faces together like controlled puppets, shouting not to break the promise, and rushed forward to surround Mary, but Mary didn't understand what they were saying, only knowing that it was important to protect her daughter now. She quickly rushed to her daughter, and slapped the mask off Anna's face. When she looked up again, the group of mask-wearers had already disappeared without a trace. The next day, Mary found an iron basin, and threw the evil mask into it to burn. She felt that if they stayed any longer, the children might be hurt, so she made arrangements for her mother's funeral, hoping to take the children and leave quickly, but Charlie disagreed, saying that it was only the 6th day, and burying her in the ground violated the shaman's instructions. After all, Mary was the eldest sister, and finally Mary won. But after burying their mother in the cemetery, as soon as the group returned to the villa and opened the door, they found that their mother's body had actually come back by itself. They thought Ella had come back to life as a zombie, and fled in fear. Just as they ran to the door of the villa, they saw a hunched figure standing under the streetlight, looking exactly like their mother. This scared everyone badly. In desperation, the group could only huddle in the gazebo, in the villa garden for the night. In the middle of the night, Charlie finally fell asleep in a daze. Charlie was so frightened that he fled in a hurry, but was blocked by the mask-wearers. No matter where he fled, he couldn't escape their grasp, and another one had appeared before he knew it. In the nick of time, one of the mask-wearers smashed Charlie into the pool, and Charlie woke up from this terrible nightmare. One strange thing after another happened, and everyone thought they still had to find the shaman to help. On the 7th day after death, led by the shaman, everyone spent a lot of effort floating their mother's body on a bamboo raft into the underground river of the karst cave in the back mountain. Unexpectedly, when Mary packed her luggage at night, she found that the mask that had been burned to ashes was actually lying intact in the interior layer of the suitcase. Just then, Mary remembered that the night before, when she was sleeping, her youngest son had said that he sought his grandmother after putting on the mask. So Mary put the mask on her face, and amazingly, she saw her mother's past. It turned out that when Charlie was born, Ella suddenly lost her milk, but her husband only knew how to complain that she was useless. The family soon became so poor that they couldn't even afford to eat. There was no other way, so Ella heard about an evil method. As long as a baby boy was sacrificed in the cave, the mask evil spirit could be summoned. The evil spirit could fulfill any wish of the sacrificer, but for each wish, a cursed nail would be implanted between the sacrificer's eyebrows. After a moment of hesitation, Ella did as told, but she was too greedy. She not only wished to resurrect her son, but also coveted eternal youth, great wealth, and so on. Unexpectedly, the evil spirit agreed to all, but all this came at a price. Gradually, Ella found that the price for her wishes was that all female descendants would become puppets of the evil spirit, and males would be used as sacrifices. Therefore, she cut off relations with her children, hoping to keep them away from this curse. Now Ella appeared to tell Mary that although her body had been buried, not all the cursed nails had been returned. She hoped Mary would retrieve the nails, go to the cave to break the mask, and lift the family curse. As soon as she finished speaking, Ella was dragged into the darkness. Since the nails were made of pure gold, Mary thought Charlie had stolen them, so Mary confronted her brother angrily, and sure enough, he admitted that he had secretly kept them, planning to sell them for money to pay off debts. While they were arguing, something more terrifying happened. The evil spirit took Jack away. Now they had to find a way to save him. The somewhat conscience-stricken Charlie took out the nails, then they went to the cave, threw all the nails into the river, and successfully saved Jack from the evil spirit. Just as Mary was about to take the children to leave, Charlie was suddenly entangled by something in the water. Then the evil spirit showed up from the depths of the cave, saying it would take what belonged to them, that is, Charlie's life. But how could Mary watch her brother be taken away? Remembering her mother's words, she quickly took out the mask, picked up a stone nearby and smashed it hard. As the mask broke bit by bit, the evil spirit began to dissipate, and finally sank to the bottom of the water with a scream. The rescued Charlie was overjoyed and walked towards Mary happily. Unexpectedly, the evil spirit showed up again, and took Charlie away with its last strength. due to Ella's greed back then, her son still couldn't escape bad luck after all. Finally, Mary took the children and fled from her mother's villa, but no one knew if the masked evil spirit was really dead. The film ends here. After watching this movie, I have to complain that the evil spirit is really wronged. It clearly didn't take the initiative to provoke, and it wasn't a forced transaction. It did help fulfill the other party's wishes, but the person who made the wish went back on it, in order to keep the ill-gotten wealth. They would rather drive the children out of the house, and even later found flaws, leading to the evil spirit's destruction. The movie's subtle allusion to social phenomena is quite brilliant. Mother Ella actually joined in the inhumane act of sacrifice for money, which is actually that some people are carried away by wealth, focus on pursuing material things, and lose all moral bottom lines. In reality, there are too many such cases of doing wicked things to satisfy one's own selfish desires. The movie uses this plot to make the audience reflect on the current social values, and at the beginning, when Mary and her brother quarreled, they revealed that they were driven out by their mother when they were children. This kind of suspense is really irresistible. Moreover, the plot conflict design of the movie is both reasonable and tense. The contradictions among family members, such as the estrangement between Mary and her brother due to childhood trauma, and the life threat brought by supernatural crises, are intertwined to form a double conflict. When the two argued about whether to continue exploring the secret, the sudden appearance of supernatural events pushed the conflict to a climax. This seamless connection between real contradictions and horror events not only conforms to the character's personality and situational logic, but also allows the audience to switch between emotional resonance and thrilling stimulation. It keeps the plot tight and fresh, avoiding the problem of simply piling up horror plots. In terms of theme excavation, the movie combines sacrifice, family curse, and contradictions. It could have dug deep into the complex relationship between human nature, desire, and morality, as well as the long-term impact of family secrets on future generations. But the film only glossed over it. Most of the energy was spent on superficial horror plots and advancing the plot. There is no in-depth analysis of how Mother Ella's psychology gradually transformed when she sacrificed her son for money, nor are the entanglements and choices of family members when facing the curse deeply analyzed. Moreover, the plot of Charlie going to the red light district is too inexplicable. Why did he wake up in the cemetery the next day, if it was really done by the evil spirit? The purpose of doing so isn't explained clearly, leaving the audience confused after watching. The theme isn't sublimated, and it finally becomes an ordinary horror story. Such a good theme setting is all wasted. Not only that, the movie has highlights in the presentation of horror elements, but the overall feeling isn't powerful enough. The design of horror scenes is quite ordinary. Many scary scenes are that ghosts suddenly appear with thrilling sound effects, which isn't new. Compared with those classic horror movies, it's much worse in atmosphere creation, and can't make the audience feel afraid from the bottom of their hearts. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to it.